at Enterprise. We focus on your dreams and achieve them from life insurance, general insurance, pensions, funerals, and property management. We have it all. So dream big with us. Download the Enterprise Advantage app now to connect with any of our subsidiaries and get the solution that you, your family, or your business needs from Enterprise. Enterprise, your advantage. And our drive chat is proudly brought to you by MTN. Choose your own bundle your own way with MTN Flexi Bundle. You can dial star 138 hash and enjoy bundles that don't expire. Access Bank, more than banking. And TCL, the creative life. So, every month, some of the dopest people on the planet assemble on the MTN Pulse Hangout. Yeah. It's 1 hour of the hottest artists of the month, sickest underground rappers to chart-topping music videos. Well, this week we're kicking it with Kweku Darlington, Kweku Flake, and Asaka's hottest boy, Yao Tog. Hang out with your faves. Yep. On the MTN Pulse Hangout. It's going to be totally lit. You can join the movement by downloading the MTN Pulse app and tuning on Friday, that's tomorrow, at 7 p.m. or just catch it on MTN Ghana YouTube page and the Facebook pages as well. MTN Pulse. Just be. We're good together everywhere you go. Right, so today on our drive chat, we're starting something quite new and novel. We saw a need. Yeah. Samson Lardy said something on Newsfile one time, which of course we already know. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. There's so much that's going on that we all need education on. A lot of the time it's shrouded in verbose statements that only lawyers can relate to. So we thought of bringing these conversations up and getting the lawyers to break them down so some of these law issues and things that we probably need to be aware of, we can understand them here. Well, Samson does a lot on Newsfile and on the law that he hosts. But here on Drive Time as well, we need a bit of his education. So we decided to pull him in here and his friends who are lawyers in the next couple of weeks to share with us some education on various issues regarding law. And Samson heeded the call. Samson is here. Samson Lardy, hi, how are you, my lawyer?
Yes.
I'm always bugging you with my troubles, isn't it?
When I check my firm accounts, your name doesn't come up. You say I'm your lawyer.
Yes, you are my lawyer, whether I like it or not. You're doing it for me pro bono.
Your name doesn't come up on my bank accounts.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming by Drive Time on Joy. So,
You're welcome.
a few months ago, one of the hottest topics in things actually spiraling from the Rosemont Brown issue with Captain Polo. She was hauled before the court. She was handed the sentence. There was so much public outcry. Back and forth on it. At the center of it all was the Cybersecurity Act and the law regarding nudity and publication of obscene materials. We thought that, no, people needed to understand it a little bit more. I need to understand it a little bit more. What the law says about nudity and publication of obscene materials. We all hearing, okay, sentence has been handed down. Oh, no, it's too harsh. No, it's not too harsh and whatnot. But what exactly does the law state? So that we know when we commit that crime, when the sentence is handed us, we know that, okay, they are cry to football. So let's get to understand the law on nudity and publication of obscene materials. And if you can actually stem it from the Equiapim Polo case as well, to give us clarity on the laws that, the laws that she broke, if I could put it that way. The charges that were leveled against her, the ones that she pleaded guilty for, so that we know when we are doing these same acts as well, this is what could be handed us. And then generally, you can explain the Cybersecurity Act as well, the law on indecent images and all, publication of indecent images and all. If you can help us with that, Samson.
Right. Lexis, I discovered not too long ago when I started to advocate around the Cybersecurity Act. And this is a law that the president assented to just before the end of last year, 2020, December.
Okay.
He assented to, and so it became law. And as I started to advocate and get people to become aware of what they could get into if they were not careful. Then I discovered from the, cybersecurity authority, so to speak. I mean, there is a place in the country where some individuals, their focus within the police and the security establishment is to look at cybersecurity.
Okay.
And I discovered that in 1 year, they had checked and found that as many as over 10,000 acts of sexual extortion online had happened.
10,000 acts
Yes,
in 1 year.
yes. Here in Ghana, using the internet and using whatever electronic means to try to extort money from people through sex had happened. And I said, okay, so this is danger.
Wow.
And I've heard about almost every 7 children in 10 unintentionally being exposed to explicit stuff, as in material that has some pornographic content.
Yeah.
And that also scares me. So I think with that at the back of our minds, we can appreciate the danger that stares at us if we don't do something very drastic about it.
What do you think is making this sextortion, if I can put it that way, prevalent now?
Because people can do it through electronic means, it becomes easier to sit in the privacy of your home, your corner somewhere. Just use your phone, and you are able to do what? To do such a thing. Some time ago, you needed, physical, access.
Yeah.
You needed to transport yourself to the next person. So I think that may be one of the reasons. So my issue here is that we seem to make all the beautiful laws, but what we don't do is to give sufficient publicity to them, so that what you spoke about, ignorance of the law is no excuse, can be reasonably expected. And then, by way of advocating the laws, people can change their minds, their attitudes, and the rest of them. For example, when I look at, and I'm reading around trying to do my take for Saturday, and I've been looking at the Domestic Violence Act, which we passed in 2007. I'm just going to read one portion of it to you, and you'll be surprised what you hear, because we have very beautiful laws in Ghana. Now, what is domestic violence? Your understanding of it, what is it? That you beat a woman?
Well,
that you hurt them?
When the Ekuapim Polo case happened, I understand that she was charged with domestic violence.
Yeah, there's a portion of that law that was used. That
so
is the aspect that says that if you put up a behavior or conduct, that is likely to undermine or undermine the privacy of somebody, or detract from their self-worth, their dignity as a human being. And so that's the portion they used as part of what they did against them.
So hitherto, I wouldn't think that was a part of domestic violence.
Yes.
You probably think of abuse as something physical.
Right.
But I didn't think of it that way.
Okay. So the law says domestic abuse or domestic violence includes emotional, verbal, or psychological abuse. Any conduct that makes another person feel constantly unhappy. So if you found yourself in a relationship, it doesn't have to be marriage. The law says what is a domestic situation doesn't have to be marriage. It could actually be friendship, but you have been friends sufficient enough so there's expectation of good treatment from the one to the other.
Okay.
So if you put the person in a situation where they are constantly unhappy, they feel miserable, they feel humiliated, they feel ridiculed, they feel afraid or they feel jittery or depressed, you are committing domestic violence.
Wow.
Yes, without lifting your hand. You're committing domestic violence. Apart from the other aspect, which is economic deprivation.
Okay.
So if you were the one supposed to provide for the person and you deprive them of adequate food, water, clothing, shelter, you are committing domestic abuse, domestic violence, and you could be found guilty. And if you are found guilty, you could be paying up to 6,000 Ghana cedis, or in addition to that, you could go to jail for up to 2 years.
You know, as you speak right now, I know somebody is listening. They are in an unhappy marriage,
Right.
in an unhappy relationship.
Yeah.
They're being psychologically abused.
Yeah.
And they actually could go to court.
There's someone who would see even their husband, and that's very sad, see their husband at the sound of their husband having clothes from work and coming home. And then the law says, if you feel jittery, feel afraid. There are people who are in that situation, emotional, psychologically, they are being abused. In fact, if you insulted the person and you did it in such a way that it's consistent and they begin to lose their self-worth, you are committing domestic abuse without lifting your hand on them, without hitting them with anything. So, back to what we are talking about. We pass all the beautiful laws. What we don't do is to try to educate and advocate on it so that it will rub off on people. It will help to change people's attitudes and minds. And then implementing the law too becomes a difficulty. Now, what you spoke about, for example, in her case, if she had taken that photograph and kept it to herself and her child privately, the law is not concerned.
Okay.
There's no issue. What the law is concerned about is the publicity of it.
Okay.
And by the publicity, you see the provisions under which they charged her under Section 280 of the Criminal Offences Act.
Yeah.
It simply talks about publishing or offering for sale any obscene book in your privacy.